So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and this is another episode of Outdoor Living. In this video, I'm going to be converting a 3-burner Weber Spirit grill from natural gas to propane. Now I am doing this on the 3-burner model Weber Spirit. However, the concept is going to be identical on the 2-burner model, minus 1 burner, obviously. So if you do have a Weber Spirit model grill, no matter what the size is, this video will help you out. And overall, the concept is generally the same for most grills, irregardless of the brand or model. Now, there are 2 components you need to change out in order to change from natural gas to propane. Now, the first one of those, and obviously the most obvious, is the supply hose that feeds the grill. And then the second item that you need to replace, which isn't as obvious, is the orifice fittings that are in the control valves of the grill itself, which supply the propane to each one of the burners. So changing out the orifices is absolutely mandatory. This is actually a video of me lighting a grill with propane that has natural gas orifices in it. And this is on the minimum setting, and you can see how big that flame is. The reason for that is natural gas comes into a grill at very low pressure, and therefore the hole in the orifice is much bigger. To allow more volume of natural gas through that orifice, since it's running at such a low pressure, propane is stored under high pressure in that container. Since that propane is entering the grill at a higher pressure than the natural gas, the hole in that orifice can be much smaller and allow less volume because it's entering at a higher pressure. So therefore, natural gas is running high volume, low pressure, and propane is running high pressure, low volume. And this is why you can't simply just switch the supply hose and think it's going to work. If you tried to put a natural gas supply hose on a propane orifice grill, my guess is, even though I've never tried it, you probably couldn't even get it to light. And if you try to put a propane supply hose on a natural gas grill, you're going to be dumping way too much volume of propane in that grill when you go to start it or light it, and you could lead to an explosion. Now, we actually run 2 grills at our house. Right now, I've got a Weber Genesis and then a Charbroil Commercial. Now, the Weber Genesis grill that we do have, I picked up about 2 years ago, and I got it for next to nothing because it was natural gas. I converted it to propane, and we've been using it consistently for those 2 years without a problem. And I will put the icon to that video if you want to see that conversion at the end of this video. We run our Weber Genesis with the cast iron grill grates for cooking steaks, burgers, etc. And then we actually have that separate Charbroil grill set up strictly for a rotisserie. Now, the reason I wanted to have both grills is because we cook outdoors quite a bit, and I got sick of removing the grill grates from that Weber Genesis every time my wife wanted to use the rotisserie. Now, that Charbroil Commercial grill was working just fine for that rotisserie. However, I figured if I got less than $100 into this Weber Spirit grill, it is built a lot better as far as how it's going to retain that heat, which would be much better for that rotisserie. This process took about 45 minutes of my time and a $40 conversion kit that I got off of Amazon. We are Amazon affiliates, and I will put the link to the conversion kit that we used in this video in my description of my video if you want to get one coming. And let's get to it. So the first thing I decided to do was go ahead and remove the natural gas hose from the grill and attach the new propane supply hose that came in the kit that has the regulator on it to the grill. Now, if your natural gas grill doesn't look like this for some reason and it looks like it has another regulator on it, you do need to remove that regulator in order to hook up this propane hose, because if you end up hooking this up and having 2 regulators on it, you will not get any propane to your grill. Now, the chances of a small grill like this Weber Spirit having a natural gas regulator on it is pretty slim, but on bigger grills it is a possibility, so you do need to watch out for that. So here is the conversion kit that I bought off of Amazon. Now, one thing I do recommend is getting a decent length propane hose, and the reason I say that is if you've got a short little hose on there, you actually usually have to unhook that hose when it's underneath the grill, where if you get one that's 5 or 6 feet long, you can bring it completely out of the grill, and it makes it much easier to disconnect and reconnect it to a bottle. The natural gas hose is going to be attached on the inside of the grill. All you got to do is open the door, and it's on the right-hand side. In order to remove that hose, you will need a 3/4 inch wrench. And then I also used a 5/8 wrench to hold the bulkhead fitting to break loose that hose off of that fitting. Now, I did have to use a very skinny 5/8 wrench because it was a tight fit to that bulkhead from the fitting on the hose. You could also use a pair of pliers or try and get a wrench on one of the nuts on the top side. You do not want to just use the single wrench and try and break loose that hose because sometimes they are very tight and you could twist the bracket that's holding that bulkhead fitting or twist the hose that is attached to the actual grill. So you do need to be careful and watch out for that. Once you break it free, you should be able to finish loosening it by hand. Now this conversion kit did come with propane Teflon tape, and you can use that if you want. You'll notice that once I removed that hose off of the fitting, there was no thread tape or any type of a sealant on the threads of that fitting when it came from Weber originally. And that's because this is an SAE fitting, and SAE uses the tapered part of this fitting to seal against the female tapered part of the hose fitting to make that seal. So honestly, as long as you tighten the hose down good, it will not leak. I did use a little bit of pipe joint compound that's good for propane and gas, just to give it a little extra vibration protection from possibly loosening up in the future. If you do want to use that Teflon tape supplied in the kit, I will put a video at the end of this one that you can check out that might help you apply that pipe tape, because there is a right and wrong way to do it. If you are going to use pipe joint compound, make sure you just put it on the male fitting and just on the threads. And that same rule applies to the pipe tape as well. Do not put it on the taper with the chance that you might get some inside the hose, which could possibly clog one of the orifices up in the control valve. I tightened it as much as I could by hand, and then I tried to get my 5/8 skinny wrench in there, and I could not put it between the new hose fitting and that bulkhead. So instead, I decided to grab 2 3/4 inch wrenches, one for the hose going up to the grill itself, and then one to put on the new propane hose that I was attaching to the grill. And because I was tightening those fittings up, I didn't have to worry about either of the other fittings loosening up while I was trying to hold it with that fitting. Now the other thing you will have to do is change out the orifices on the control valves themselves. In order to do this, you will need to remove all 3 of the knobs on this grill. They are just kind of a press-on fit, and they are plastic, so you do need to be careful. Do not go side to side at all with the chance that you might crack the knob. Some can go very easily, and some can be a pain in the ass. I found when they were a pain in the ass, I wrapped one hand around that knob, then put my other hand and leveraged against the front panel of the grill against the grip I had on that knob, if that makes sense, in order to help remove them. Underneath each one of the control knobs, there is a Phillips head screw that you will need to remove. You will also need to go underneath that control panel and remove the top screw on each side of the grill. However, you do not need to remove the 2 that are in the center. Once removing those 5 screws, you should be able to lift the control panel cover up and off of the grill. You still need to be careful because you have an electric igniter and the wires for that are still going to be hooked up. I was able to pivot that panel over to the side, and then I tried removing those spade connectors from the switch. However, they were being stubborn, and I didn't want to risk breaking that switch trying to get those wires off. So what I ended up doing is removing the wires from the battery underneath the grill, and then that gave me enough slack to lift it up and pivot it over and set it on the side table of the grill. You will need to lift off the grill grates and 2 of the flavorizer bars in order to access 2 bolts that hold the control valve manifold to the grill. Both of those items will just lift off. There is nothing securing either one. Using a 7/16 ratcheting wrench and a regular wrench, I went ahead and removed those 2 bolts that hold the control valve manifold to the main body of the grill. Once removing those, then you will come back to the front of the grill and remove those 2 screws that we did not remove earlier when we were removing the control panel cover. Before taking that final screw off, make sure you have your hand on the control valve manifold just to make sure it doesn't fall. Now, if you choose, you can also remove the supply hose from the manifold, but if you are going to do that, make sure you do it before removing all the screws. I didn't feel the need to do that, and I was able to get enough space where I could change these orifices out without having to disconnect it and risk breaking or tweaking something trying to break it free. Now, the orifices thread into the end of each one of those control valves, and you're just basically going to unscrew each one of those in order to remove them. Now, I was able to position that manifold where I didn't feel it was leveraging too much on that supply hose, but you can always grab a bungee to help support the other side if you want to. This kit came with a wrench in order to remove these orifices, and with the fact that I did not remove that supply hose, this wrench actually came in really handy because I was able to get into tight spaces with it. Once removing all 3 of the old orifices, I went ahead and grabbed the 3 new orifices out of the bag. I did use that pipe dope on each one of those orifices, once again making sure I only put it on the male threads of the new orifice and not in the female threads of the actual control valve, so there was no possibility of any of that pipe dope getting inside that orifice and possibly clogging it. You could also use that Teflon tape, but trying to get that around that small of a fitting is an absolute pain in the ass. I was able to tighten those pretty much all the way down by hand and then just went another quarter to a half turn with the wrench. You don't want to get too crazy with tightening these down because it is a brass fitting going into an aluminum control valve. So if you over tighten it, you could possibly strip out either the orifice or worst case, the control valve. When these are fully tight, the hex part of that orifice should pretty much bottom out on the control valve itself. Once verifying all 3 orifices were tight, then I went ahead and lined up that manifold and put it back into the 3 burners of the grill. I started the 2 screws towards the bottom of that manifold that holds it to the framework of the grill, tightened them down a little bit, but left them loose enough where I could still shift the manifold so I could get the bolts started that go through the inside of the grill through the top part of the manifold bracket. The manifold should slide all the way and be tight to the framework of the grill. Do not use the screws or bolts to pull it in place. If you cannot push that manifold tight to the frame, then something is binding up and you need to reassess why that's happening. You might even need to take the other 3 flavorizer bars off and see if one of the burners came out of its slot on the back of the grill. Once I got all 4 of the fasteners in place, then I went ahead and started tightening them down using the 2 wrenches, and then went ahead and tightened down the 2 Phillips screws using my little impact driver. Once tightening down all the fasteners, then I went ahead and moved that control panel cover back into place. The top lip of that cover will rest on these 2 clips that are riveted to the grill. You should be able to place the cover kind of over the control valves and then lift it up a little bit to get it up over those clips to hold it in place. Now, because I disconnected the wires off of the battery down underneath the grill instead of up at the switch, I did have to be careful not to pinch those wires. And then once I got it in place, I just pulled that extra slack down so I could reconnect the wires to the battery underneath the grill. Now in this case, those 2 wires don't make a difference as far as which way they go because it's just making contact or not with that switch. So if you forgot which wire went where, it doesn't really matter. And in case you were wondering and you didn't know, the battery for the igniter is down here, and this is the direction the battery goes in with the positive towards the outside of the cover. Now at this point, I decided to hook up the propane bottle so I could try everything out before doing any more assembly to make sure it was working. One thing I do recommend is turning the bottle on and don't fire it up for a minute or 2 and make sure you don't smell any propane from maybe you leaving a fitting loose or one of the fittings or hoses cracking when you're removing stuff around on the grill for safety reasons. And if you do get any of that nasty propane odor, you need to stop and figure out where that's coming from before going any further. I took all 3 of the knobs and just barely pushed them onto the control valve so I could operate them, and then went ahead and removed all 3 of the flavorizer bars that were above the burners. Whenever I start a propane grill that has a battery operated igniter, I start the igniter so I can make sure I hear it clicking, and then I go ahead and turn the control valve to the on position or the light position, and that way I know that spark is clicking, ready to alight that propane, so there's no chance of propane building up, getting excessive, and then creating a possible explosion. Now, in case you're not familiar with this grill, it only has an igniter spark on the first burner, which means you always have to start the left-hand side burner first. Then you'll notice that there's these transition tubes that carry the flame across to the other burners, so you don't need to use the battery-powered ignition to light the other 2 once you have lit the first burner. I can't emphasize how critical that is. If you put one of the other burners and then hitting that ignition, you could build up a lot of propane inside that grill, and then when that propane actually reaches that spark, you could have a bad situation on your hands. So once again, always light the left-hand burner first, then the middle, and then the one on the right. I went ahead and put the 3 flavorizer bars back in place over the burners. Those just set in place. And then I went ahead and started them up one more time just to check that flame. Once verifying that, I did shut the grill down and then go ahead and put the other 2 flavorizer bars in position. Then grab the cast iron grates and set those in as well. At this point, I went ahead and pulled the control knobs off. They come off pretty easy this time because I barely put them on the time before. So I could finish putting together the rest of the screws that held that cover panel in place. Went ahead and started the 3 screws that go into the control valve from that cover. You don't want to tighten these down thoroughly until you get all your screws in and started. Then I went underneath and got the 2 screws from underneath that go into the frame of the grill back in and got those started. Once I had all 5 screws started, then I went ahead and tightened all of them down. Once I had all 5 of the screws tight that were holding that cover to the grill, then I went ahead and pushed the 3 control knobs back into place just by lining them up and pushing them on. This time I actually pushed them on thoroughly because we were not taking them off again. And that's all there is to it, guys. Now obviously the first thing I had to do after converting this is make some cheeseburgers, medium rare, and they came out amazing. So that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.